Are there other press people also?
Yeah, the microphone. Only dealing with videos.
Oh, the microphone people
Yeah,
also?
so it can be over the
Yeah, that's a
because
very good idea.
Yeah.
Okay. George, are you live already?
Yeah.
Okay, let me show you.
How many pots?
8. I mean 6. BB1.
Yeah? No.
Yeah, they're not close.
Yeah. Yeah. Started.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay. So, okay. So, ladies and gentlemen of the press, we want to welcome all of you here today to this press conference. Can we please have your attention and can we keep the noise level down? To this press conference of the Council of Patriots. And we're very glad to have you all here today. We have Honorable Yeke Koluba present, Honorable Darius Delon, Monserrato's next senator in a few days, present. We have Mrs. L. Louis Salif Gale, present, a member of the COP. We have Reverend Saley, present. He is the chaplain of the COP. And I'm Henry Costa, your humble servant, the chairman of the COP. We've called this press conference today, and unusually we don't have a written statement. So whatever you recall, we hope you can transcribe. You can transcribe from it for your reports, those of you who write. And so we will speak extemporaneously. The COP has met and discussed. Yesterday we held a meeting and we discussed the statement from the American ambassador, Her Excellency Ambassador Christine Elder, and we received the statement in good faith. We discussed it among ourselves and we have decided to not only respond to it, but it informed a decision that we took. And so today we will make that decision known to you. And before I go any further, I will go to Honorable Darius Delon, who will communicate the decision we took yesterday, and then he will stop there, and then I will announce the date. And Honorable Yeke will speak with respect to the mobilization efforts for our next action, which will be announced right here. So I will now turn over to Honorable Darius Delon.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Henry Costa is the chairman of the Council of Patriots, and I am an advisor. We have the chaplain, Reverend City, here. I don't need to run over the introduction again. He's already done so. Representative Yeke Koluba is here as an advisor of the Council of Patriots. I too I am. We have Mo Ali as the Secretary General. We have a structure, and we just wanted to make that clear. We met yesterday. We have met already yesterday in our regular meeting. The statement from the U.S. Embassy, signed by the ambassador, also enhanced our meeting, and it formed a cogent part of our discussion. We received the communication in good faith, and we talked to make some adjustments in the date for our protest, and in respect for our traditional partners. Whether we like it or not, America plays a huge role in the developmental agenda of Liberia, the growth of our people. And so when our partners express a concern of such nature, we thought to give it some consideration. We do so out of courtesy. We know that Liberia is a sovereign state. We also understand that we also depend on America for a lot of things. And so instead of July 24, commencing the date of protest. We will not do some adjustments, and the date of the protest will be announced by the chairman. But we just wanted to be clear that the protest is not cancelled, it's only shifted. We will protest. The statement from the U.S. Embassy is not discouraging protest. It's not frowning against protest. It's not saying we cannot protest. The statement from the U.S. government or the U.S. Embassy, it cannot run contrary to the constitutional rights that we have as contained in Article 17 of the Constitution of Liberia. The statement from the U.S. Embassy cannot run contrary to Article 1 of the Constitution of Liberia. The statement from the U.S. Embassy is saying we should be considerate of the timing of our protest. We had thought that the timing was right. We still think that the timing is right because you take advantage of serious national occasions to bring attention to the national issues. We have a president who listens only to himself and the big powers around the world. So on Independence Day, when he has his guests and all of these people coming, we wanted to let these guests know that this country is not happy and that George Weah is not proceeding in keeping with the aspiration of the people of this country. And so we decided that we will call their attention. You in the media, we haven't heard, most of us in the media ask why the government has not responded or said something about the petition that was submitted to the president and the government. We have given 30 days as of the 9th of June since our petition was submitted officially to the office of the president. The government has not responded, and we wanted to make sure that we keep our word. That after 30 days, have we not heard from the government, from the president, we'll do a second round of protest to call the attention to those issues that we raised in our petition. Now, before the chairman enhances this discussion, we wanted to make it clear. We are not unreasonable people. Those demands listed in our petition, we know that the president could not fulfill all within 30 days. And our 30 days demand was not intended for the president to address all of those issues. Our 30-day demand was to give the president a period where he will read our petition, acknowledge our petition, and then say when and how and what he can do as contained in our petition. For instance, we don't need a dialogue for the president to publish his asset. We don't need a dialogue. We don't need a dialogue for the president to do a lot of things. Of course, we need a dialogue, and we welcome a dialogue on other governance issues, especially on the economy, on most of the critical sectors. We are prepared to proffer suggestions. We have reached a point where it is difficult to even have a private discussion with your own president. You sit with the president even on invitation, and you respect his invitation for a one-on-one meeting, either at his house or at his office. And by the time you leave from there and you disagree on some issue, they say the man can't allow them to pay for a job. They can come here in the evening and beg for their own personal issues, and then in the day they are the opposition. So they have placed themselves in a situation where nobody has trust in them to even have a private discussion. That is why every discussion we have with public officials or on national issue, we decide that the press and the people will know. The press must be there, and the people must know through the media. Anything short of that is misconstrued as, oh, they were compromised last night, and because we meet their demands, so they come and made noise in the day. We never give them that luxury to even run with any such narrative that is not true. And so in effect, we will not do the protest on the 24th of July. We will shift it till after the Independence Day celebration or anniversary, so to speak. And there are a series of measures we will be taking as of the 24th of July. Not necessarily getting in the street, but we'll call on our people as to how to observe the day. The chairman will make that announcement. And if there's anything necessary else for me to say as we go along, the chairman will call my attention to that.
Okay. Cyrus Dillon for very effectively sitting that position. So as Mr. Dillon has already said, the COP has decided that out of respect for the treasured traditional and historical ties enjoyed between our two countries, and what the United States government and its people have done and continue to do for our country, and how the Americans have always championed human rights, democracy. Even in our disagreements, the Americans have always been there for us. Whenever a Liberian man stumps his stool and falls, he shouts, "America." Whenever there's trouble, he shouts, "America." And so because of that, we have to respect what they've said. So because of that, we've decided to move the date of the protest from July the 24th to July the 31st. Let me repeat. We have decided to move the date of the protest from Wednesday, July the 24th to Wednesday, July the 31st. And the protest will remain as we had planned. It will be a nationwide protest across the country, in capital cities, in Banga, in Ganta, in Vanjama, in Buchanan, in Montserrado. And we will come out peacefully as we did on June 7th in our numbers, thousands and thousands of people across this country. And we will protest non-stop until our demands are heeded, until the president can call a press conference or whatever it is, a pre-recorded message, and tell the Liberian people that he has received officially our demands as contained in our petition statement, and that he is going to begin to work on them. We will not stop until we see results. We are committed. Enough is enough. So, as Mr. Dillon also stated, we have decided that there is nothing worthy of celebration on July 26. There's nothing. This morning we hosted two gentlemen, seditians, some of them appointed official seditians. They were not just ordinary members. And they are very disenchanted, even more than some of us are, because they fought for this party, they believed in this president, they made him, and he has let them down. And when I asked them, what is your greatest challenge today? They said when day breaks, food is the number one challenge for them. They said we don't even think about school. Why would you think about school when you cannot even eat? You cannot feed your children. And people like Darius Dillon and Honorable Yeke Koluba, they were touched by that. Just hearing these young men admit to not even being able to eat. And Mr. Ashford Garley, whose wife is seated right here to my right. And we raised over 100,000 Liberian dollars for them this morning. And that is not just about the money, but the compassion that was demonstrated by Dillon, by Honorable Koluba, by Mr. Garley, by Archie Sano, by the young man Ibrahim Keita. This is the kind of Liberia we want to see, where even though we may disagree politically, but we hold together. And we are one people. That's what the COP is about. Some of you are surprised that a Darius Dillon would give to a sedition, that a Yeke Koluba of all people would give to a sedition. But we don't hate our brothers and sisters on the other side. We pray that more and more of them will see the light and would open their eyes, and as they said, they are out there in the field campaigning to ensure that this calamity they unknowingly helped to bring upon this country, they redeem themselves by voting and encouraging others to vote for our candidates in District 15 and for the Senate seat of Montserrado County. So again, I want to say, out of respect for the United States government, in recognition and acknowledgement of its tremendous immeasurable, incalculable contributions to our country in helping to consolidate the peace and democracy and being the one country that we always can cry on and being the source of 20% of our country's GDP just by personal inward remittances alone. We cannot ignore the appeal of the Americans to skip the July 26th. So we'll push the protest date to begin Wednesday, July the 31st. Now, therefore, on 26th day, why we also thank the Americans for stating in the final paragraph of her statement that national events should be devoid of partisan promotion and political posturing. Do not use national programs to have party celebrations. That's what the American ambassador said in her statement. That advice is to the president and his people. We hope the president and his people will take heed. And Independence Day, when they go and throw their big parties, they will celebrate by themselves. Because I know they will not take heed. And we, the well-meaning Liberians who are hurting, who are suffering, we should stay home. We should, if we have food, we should cook and eat. If you have a little more, share with your neighbors. Sit and reflect on how difficult a situation we find ourselves in. Pray if you must, but let us not join them to merry-make, for there is nothing to merry-make about. We are hurting. Our country is at the lowest ebb since our founding. Even during the war, never once did our exchange rate go this high. Never before have we seen in a year and a half food prices go up by 30-40%. Never before have we witnessed companies shutting down and laying people off and leaving with no intervention from government to stop that. So we thank you, the press, for coming. Spread the word. Some of you may think that you are just doing your jobs, but in your hearts and in your minds, you are Liberians too, and you are duty bound to execute your professional duties in a patriotic fashion. Theodore Roosevelt, one of America's greatest presidents, they used to call the Rough Rider, said, and I quote, "Stand with a patriot is one who stands with his president when he is right, but stands with his government all the time." Thank you very much, and God bless you all and save the state. We will take some questions now if you have, and of course Honorable Yeke Koluba will speak to the issue of and want to thank Honorable Koluba for the pots, 6 large pots Honorable Koluba has bought, and some rice. So it shows you we're going to be cooking. We'll put our tents and we'll be out there until we see action. So you may ask a few questions, and then we'll close this thing up.
Okay, seems like no question. I think we're clear.
Yeah, I have one question.
Okay.
Yep. We have listened to you.
Identity?
First, my name is James Fulamo. I report for Sky FM. We have listened. We have listened to you. You talk about extending the protest to the 31st of this month due to U.S. intervention. We want to know, what the Liberian people, what is going to be the strength of you coming back at this time around to say the Liberian people should go out and protest with this? Some will see it as, a weak part of you standing back.
For you to say that our greatest ally, our greatest friend, makes a request of us that is public, that everybody here knows, and our decision to heed and grant their request is a sign of weakness, I think you are mistaken. It is a sign of strength. Leaders, listen. Because the people believe in Yeke, because they believe in Delon, because they believe in Mrs. Kaleye, they believe in Reverend Seli, they believe in Mo Ali, Bwaka Jaliba, all the people who are members of leadership, the leadership of the COP, the people will come out any day we say. They will come out any day we say. The people know it is not the government that told us not to protest. It is not the embassy that told us, or the embassy has not told us not to protest. The embassy says it commends us for what we did on June 7th, and it encourages us to apply the law to come out to assemble. Do not forget, the people of Liberia are with us in the majority, including citizens. So you and I cannot sit there and say the people will come or the people will not come. But I can tell you this much: the Liberian people, as long as we project good leadership, integrity, and credibility, they will follow us. The people know their leaders. George Weah may have authority today, but he does not have power today. Power is fast draining out of him. All power is inherent in the people. The people will come out any day we call them out, as long as we maintain their confidence. Thank you very much. Another question. Another question.
My name is Augustine Otavius. I work for Pram FM. Since you decided to shift the day from the 24th to the 31st, do you have any plan of informing the Liberian National Police to offer you protection on that particular day?
Yes, a communication will go out on Monday to the Liberia National Police, informing them. We've already sent one communication to the effect of July 24th. We will send another one to inform them
It has been shifted.
that it's been shifted to the 31st.
Yeah.
So yes, we will do that.
Right.
Another person.
Yes, my name is Pius, and we understand that you people had a meeting with the American embassy before, and you do their discussion or their advice. Why not buying down to their statement?
The meeting, any meeting with our diplomatic mission, diplomatic friends, is private. We will not speak to that.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. DeLong. That's diplomacy. No, somebody else. If there's anybody else.
Anybody?
Anybody else with another question?
Okay, having said
Yes, Elijah Diaspan.
you're thinking of your question?
That will be the last question. Yeah.
I report for WAP TV Liberia that having read the statement from the U.S. Embassy talking to the issue to instate that the planned protest is the lack of commitment to national development. How do you refer to it as that? How can you speak to that?
It's a view expressed by the U.S. ambassador. We respect that view. But we don't think it is lack of patriotism.
And what do you think of?
We don't think it is lack of patriotism. Our constitution says all people, all persons at all times, in an orderly and peaceable manner, have the right to assemble, to petition the government to express their grievances at all times. When the framers of the Constitution inserted that, they knew there's Christmas Day, there's Independence Day, and there could be issues.
And they did not make exceptions.
They didn't make exception that
That you cannot protest on
you cannot
Christmas.
protest on Christmas or Independence or Flag Day. But you got to be adult in the room with good listening ears. We are listening to our traditional and most important international partner.
Yeah.
And it is not a sign of weakness, like Costa has said. It is a sign of strength and maturity. Because anything happens to Liberia, in Liberia, one of the first persons we call on, first institution of government we call on, is the American government. And if they make an appeal, even if it was a demand, it is honorable. It is just mature
To grant it.
to grant it. Now, if they have said you have no right to protest at all, July 24 will never have been shifted. But they said we respect your rights to do so. We think the timing should be adjusted. We are big guys in the room. We can adjust it. July 31st is not far. Right after 26th, the government will be crying for reason why we should not protest again. You in the media want to charge you. We want to charge you. The Council of Patriots want to charge you. So ask the government, why haven't they responded to our petition? Your editorial, your talk shows. Ask. But okay, let's talk so. And how we can talk in Liberia? Why is it that the government, President Weah, is not responding to the Council of Patriots petition? The government says in one breath that no, we received that petition. The government says in the same breath they have received our petition. You know how we know? You in the media were at the Ministry of Information press conference, regular press conference, when the Solicitor General, then designate, said that they will go after public officials 10 years ago for alleged act of corruption. And somebody asked and said, but there's a statute of limitation on certain crimes. And 10-year period is beyond the statute of limitation. He said, no, in keeping with law, whenever you know when the person committed a crime, when it was just brought to your attention, then the statute of limitation really doesn't hold at that point. And the journalist asked him, so when did you know that people committed a crime? He said, when Council of Patriots presented their petition. So the government can't be running away from not receiving our petition, at the same time using it as a justification to go after people of the past. The Constitution, part of our petition was respect for the Constitution of Liberia. I don't hear editorials being run. I don't hear talk show hosts showing some passionate anger, righteous anger on the clear violation, continuous violation of our Constitution, especially when it comes to holding constitutional by-election. We don't hear that anger. By the time Council of Patriots say, we come and stand up to call the government attention, oh, peace. You see, the government cannot say protest will bring about violence and disrupt the peace, because we've demonstrated that on June 7. We disarmed them of that argument, right? Now the next thing is patriotism. Now we are shifting from July 24 to July 31st, right? So that we can demonstrate what true patriotism is, and that's what we're doing. I want to thank you.
So if I'm asked,
we have to close.
We have to close.
We have to close.
We have to close.
And I just want to say something. Thanks, Mr. Darius DeLong. You know, our people have a parable in closing. They say, what the little child cannot see standing, the old person can see when they're sitting. We don't know. But maybe the Americans see something that we cannot see. But to all of our supporters, most importantly, to Liberians who support and believe in us, some of you may be disappointed that we are shifting the date. But one thing you can be assured of is that we are not canceling the protest.
Right.
One thing you can be assured of is that the government did not buy us. One thing you can be assured of, that your confidence in us is worthy, and we will maintain it. July the 31st, save the date to save the state. God bless you all. Thank you.